ago, I was helping an old friend sell a house out in Morrison, Colorado. For those who don't know Morrison, it's this teeny tiny, quaint town adjacent to the beginning ridge of the Rocky Mountains. My friend's mom had cancer and died in the house. His father, distraught from her death, got bloody drunk the night after and accidentally tripped and fell down a steep cliff while walking his dog Bono. The dog survived. Unfortunately, his father broke his neck and died. Fast forward a few months, I'm doing a preliminary check on the house's condition when, in the kitchen, a knife literally was flinged out of the silverware drawer, right towards my foot. I narrowly dodged a trip to the hospital. I felt it was a freak accident and carried on with my inspection. That afternoon, a fierce snowstorm came through and essentially closed down the one-way dirt road out of town. I called my buddy up, and he gave me permission to stay in the house on the condition that sleep wherever, but don't sleep in my parents' room. The house sometimes makes noises during snowstorms, and it can get pretty loud. He explained it had to do with the piping running right under his parents' bedroom. Sure enough, around 3 a.m., I began hearing pipes. Well, it didn't sound like pipes, but someone moaning, "Jow, jow, get out." The voice sounded like a demon and scared the living wazoo out of me. I ran outside and slept for the rest of the night in my frozen car. The next day, I wake up and find scratch marks along the side of my car. Inside, the house is trashed. Just destroyed, with no sign of break-in whatsoever. I call the police and my buddy and explain what happened. Because of the events and the fact I was now a person of suspect, I decided to hand off my duties to my partner. That is when things got even weirder. A week later, my friend called me from a rest stop. "I'm not sure how I got here," he told me over the phone. Apparently, he had sleepwalked 5 miles in the middle of the night to the stop. I thought he was losing his mind until he told me this after I picked him up. "You know that piping sound I told you about? I don't think that's the pipes. Maybe I'm going insane, but I think the house is haunted." My grandfather always used to clamor about that back in the day, before he died of a mysterious heart attack. And I'm starting to think it's the reason why my dad fell down that ravine. We drive back up to the house and go inside. At this point, I'm debating whether I need to get my friend to a shrink or get him out of this house. I tell him, "Hey, let's stay at my place tonight." Suddenly, the floor started shaking, and a loud "get out" violently echoed through the hallways. My friend doesn't react. Meanwhile, I freak out and run for my car. I drive home, sleep it off, and call my friend the next day. "What are you talking about? You came over, we played cards, and you left. Nothing out of the ordinary." How did my friend not remember what happened the night before? I tried convincing him over the phone, and, later, over coffee that was anything but the case. After our conversation, I never heard from my buddy again. I tried reaching out, but he ignored me. A year passed, and I saw his obituary in the news. He had died from a brain aneurysm at the age of 38. That day, I decided to take a break from the industry and went on sabbatical to India. I'm not sure whether he went crazy, I went crazy, or the house was demonic. And I'm not sure I'll ever get those answers. One day, my roommate's sister visited our apartment from Bangalore with her son who was 5 years old at that time. That kid was highly notorious. In the evening, we all went out for a movie, then followed by a dinner. We came back at around 12:30 midnight. I dropped my roommate and her sister outside the building and went to park the car with the kid. After parking, when we were coming towards our building, the kid started screaming and told me hold him in my lap. He asked me to look at the monster who was in front of us. There was just a security guard in front of us. Due to his notorious nature, I didn't take him seriously, so I asked him that, "How does the monster look like?" He explained that he was covered with white bandages. I laughed and tried to scare him by saying that, if he doesn't behave like a good boy, I will take him to the monster. He begged me not to do that. After this, we entered our flat. My roommate's sister was already slept in her room, so the kid didn't get a chance to meet her, and he went to my room to sleep with me. My roommate chose to sleep in the hall, since I used to snore. We all slept. Morning, my roommate called me in his sister's room, and he was all tensed. I looked at his sister, and she was terrified. I got scared and asked her repeatedly what happened. She told us that she woke up at 2:45 a.m. to get water from kitchen. In the hall, she saw a person sitting on the sofa and looking at my roommate who was sleeping right below the sofa. When we asked her how the person looked like, she told that he was wrapped with white bandages all over. This scared the shit out of me, wondering why. This was the exact description of the monster given by the small kid who didn't tell anything to her mother at night. There is no chance she saw a dream. There was a rumor about our society that few buildings are haunted, but we, like the courageous youth of today, didn't give a shit. After this incident, we shifted the flat after 2 weeks. The only thing that I am still unsure is why I couldn't see the monster when the kids saw it. This is what happened to a woman I knew who lived in a house nearby cemeteries. This happened in Cincinnati, Ohio quite a few years ago, but it was one of the most dramatic encounters with a non-physical entity I've ever had. A man called me and told me his wife had attempted suicide by opening a bottle of pills and was about to put all the pills in her mouth. He happened to be at work and just happened to call her at the precise time she opened the pill bottle. The phone ringing brought her out of a trance-like state. She was not suicidal and did not even know what she had done, but she felt something was compelling her to kill herself. I don't think it was a coincidence that this house was located within less than a mile of 3 cemeteries. I think what she encountered were the ghosts or spirits of some who were buried in those cemeteries, and they were looking for a house to live in. Some spirits don't even realize they are no longer alive in a body. One of the creepiest things in that house was a face that appeared on the living room wall that looked like paintings you've seen of Jesus, but in about a minute of close observation, I found an image of the devil. What I've said so far is not the part that was most scary. Those were run-of-the-mill phenomena I've seen many times, but what I wanted to know about was what caused the wife to feel compelled to take pills and then not even know she was doing it. That sounded like some kind of possession I had heard about, but this woman did not seem in any way to be possessed or have irrational or abnormal behavior. She told me the incident took place in the master bedroom, so I asked them to go outside on the driveway. Well, my friend Sam and I would explore anything out of the ordinary in the bedroom. I didn't want them in the house if anything got out of hand. As Sam and I were walking to the bedroom, it struck me as odd it was that the house was cold when it was the middle of the summer, with the temperature outside being in the high 80s, and all the windows were open. I think I concluded then that the house must be well insulated, but I was to find out later there was another explanation. Once in the bedroom, there was a heavy depressing feeling that I sensed was strongest in one corner of the room, so I asked Sam to go over to the corner and tell me if he noticed anything odd. As he got to the corner, he was thrown back across the room several feet, and he said it felt like an electric current had shot through his body. I've never seen him so scared, and he said he would not stay in that house for even another minute, and he left and joined the couple on the driveway, waiting to see what I'd do now. I honestly don't know what that was in the corner, but it felt evil and dark, whatever it was. Not one to be deterred by such things, I had to find out for myself, and as I approached the corner, I felt an ominous presence threatening me if I didn't leave. The dark presence knew I wasn't going to leave like my friend Sam had done, and I was not impressed with paranormal tricks. Well, I didn't leave. Quite the contrary, I challenged the evil presence and said I wasn't leaving, but it was. I then did a couple things I had learned that could remove evil spirits, and the energy in the entire house changed. It also felt noticeably warmer, and I called to the people who lived there to come in and tell me what they sensed. As the woman arrived at the front door and stepped in, she stopped and said the energy was gone, and in fact, she now felt there was love in the house. I suggested they move as I couldn't guarantee the spirits would not return, and that is what they did. Within 2 weeks they found another place to live and never had any similar problems again.